Right, so what we want to do is work out a percentage of an amount, Luke. Okay, and there are several methods that you may choose to use, or you might choose a different one, but let's go through a few with from you guys. So, if I want to work out 20% of £40, Izzy, explain to me your method.
Divide 40 by 100 because percent. And then
Okay, so I do 40 divide by 100, and what does that find?
that finds
That's
it finds not the actual answer.
No, but what does it find if you divide it? 1%. That is 1%. That's why you divide it by 100. Right? So 1% we've worked out is how much?
0.4.
So 0.4 pounds at the moment. So then what do we do now?
You times 0.4 by 20.
So we then do times 20 because 1% times 20 is 20%. So we do 0.4 times 20. And what's your method for that?
8.
Well, what's your method? Nick?
I move it along one decimal space.
Move what along one decimal?
Unit 4 because it's timesing by a number of 0, so you move it along one and then you times by first.
Well, I want a better explanation. I'm sure what you've got is right. Go on.
Multiply both numbers by 10.
Multiply both by 10.
No,
No, you don't actually. Archie?
Multiply just 0.4 by 10
Why?
because then it makes it a whole number and then at the end you add the decimal point back in.
Oh, I'd hate that. That leads to mistakes. I've got a year 7 student who just sticks decimal point. You might work for you at the moment, but you've got to be able to explain this better. Alright? There is a better understanding to be shown.
You cancel the zeros. So I mean, like, if you
But
cancel.
why can I do that? Cancelling zeros can only really be done if you fully understand why you can do that.
So because every time you multiply a decimal by 10, it moves over. Because 0.4, it means that 4 is at the place of tenths.
Yeah?
So 10 tenths make one whole.
Yeah. I get
So-
0.4 times 10 is 4, but I want to know, do I do 4 times 20 and then you reckon chuck a decimal place back in? Is, you know, there's ways to understand it. Adam,
To get the 0.4 to a whole number, you can times it by 10, and
Yeah.
then when you divide it by 10, so it's the same value, but it's easier to work out.
okay, right. That is one way. That's a better way of explaining it. Right? I need the same answer, so I can multiply one of them by 10, but then I need to divide the other one by 10. Another way of thinking of it is to do this. I'm going to split the 20 into 0.4, so it's times 2 times 10. So I've split the 20 into 2 times 10. So it's just another way of thinking, well, if I divide 20 by 10, I get 2. Now I could apply the times 10 to the 0.4 instead, and it becomes 4 times 2, which gives me the answer 8. Now I'm sure all of you got the answer 8, but what I want to check is whether you fully understood why you're allowed to do that. And I don't think some of you did. See, that also then leads us to this solution, well, if I ignore the decimal point and just do 4 times 20, I get 80. And then if it's got one decimal place in the question, we must have one decimal place in the answer. The answer is 8.0. Now that is something you're allowed to do, but what I wanted to know is, do you understand why you're allowed to do it? And I need you, if you're going to be top mathematicians, to always understand why something can be done, not just that it can be done. Okay?
Well, couldn't we just do, like, for that question, 40
Alright, so
divided by 10?
There's
Yeah, I
another
did that.
way.
But
I did that.
Yes,
It's
exactly. So what Izzy chose to do was divide by 100 times by 20. That's fine. You could have, quite rightly, divided by 10 to find
The
10% and then times it by 2. We actually end up with the same answer. Same thing. But yes, you can. There is actually another way, which is what I saw Daniel do. Daniel, would you like to explain how you did it?
So what I did was I found that there is 20%. There's 5 20s in 100.
So 5 lots of 20% make 100%.
Yeah, so I divided the 40 pounds by
So
5.
£40. So, 5 times what makes the 40. So
Yeah.
40 divided by the 5
8.
makes 8.
So that
So
was just
20% is 8. That's another way to do
That's
it.
smart.
Yes.
Another way to do it is like what I did. Is to immediately convert the percentage into fraction and
Yeah.
simplify it.
That's another way to do it.
So like what
So
I
again, let's just 20% of 40. So we would do
20 by 100 into 40,
of 40, yeah.
and
Which
then
is-
simplify it into 1 by 5, and into 40.
Yeah.
Which basically gives us
And how do you do 1/5 of 40?
just
Divide by 5. So you get the answer 8 again. So again, you might say, oh, but the other way is easier. But there will be a time when knowing that you can do that will be more of a help to you than just being able to get an answer. It's about, as maths gets more and more difficult, what you need to remember is, what am I allowed to do? What works with different numbers, with different letters, different situations? So you've got to practice all that. Okay? So whatever methods you chose to use, you might choose to solve these in different ways. So for instance, 25% of something, I would use Daniel's method, because divided by 4. So 84 divided by 4 is 21. That's the quick way there, nice and easy. Okay? 60% of something, which way would I use?
Well, I halved it, so
Okay.
you get 50%, and then
Okay, 50% is 21.
yeah,
Yeah?
and then I found the 10%,
So 10% we divide by 10
10.
is
4.2,
4.2.
and then I added them
Add
together,
them together, yeah. So then that's,
25.20.
remember it's money, so we ought to know. So that's another way, adding the percentages. Okay. 35% of 40.
You should do it in steps.
Well, actually, I've got 20% of 40s already there. Don't forget to use what you've already got. Okay. Now what, Luke?
I would find out 10% and then also
So
half
10% is
4.
4, because I can use that one.
it,
and then-
use that to half it to get 5%.
So 5% is
2.
2. Add them together and you get
14.
14. That's one way of doing it, yeah? Oh.
tedious.
But in?
Seems a bit tedious.
It does seem a bit tedious, but then we all have to deal with tedium every day, don't we? You might choose, again, what I would suggest is the way, which way would you always use if you have a calculator?
Divide.
So I would actually, if I've got a calculator, for all of these, I would have done 0.2 times 40, 0.6 times 42, 0.35 times 40, and 0.25 times 84. Okay?
They
Now, I could actually expect you to do that without a calculator, alright? But I would expect you to be able to use whichever method is most appropriate for the situation. So which one, you say, oh, but which one do I have to use, Mr. Fox? You have to use any particular one, you just need to use the one that fits the situation. Alright? Any questions on any of those? Do you understand what I'm getting at in terms of you guys, especially you guys, should no longer be thinking about just what's the right answer, but how you get there? Yeah? Right. What page? I've just got to sort Polina out. Page 156. question 1, I think, was where you're starting with. Okay?